The Chickasaw Nation by Sean Philip Harris. My presentation begins with a short migration story about how the Chickasaw Indians came to be after splitting from the Choctaw.
Our ancestors were very spiritual people, and they felt like they couldn't do anything without praying to the Creator. And so they prayed and asked for direction. What should they do? And they felt like they got the answer in the form of a sacred pole. And this pole was the directions to use the pole was to put the pole in the ground each evening, and in the morning when they woke up to see whichever direction it was leaning in. And whichever direction it was leaning in, that would be the way that they would travel for the day. So they would put the pole in the ground that evening. The next morning that they woke up, it always seemed to be leaning toward the east. And so our ancestors followed this pole all the way until they came to this large body of flowing water. Today, we would know that water as the Mississippi River. Once they got there, they weren't sure what they should do, so once again, they put the pole in the ground that evening. The next morning they woke up, they felt like this pole was still leaning to the east. So they made rafts for everyone jumped on a raft, they floated across the river, and then once they got to the other side of the river, that's when major things began to happen. There was two brothers leading this large group of people. One brother's name was Chutta, the other brother's name was Chickasaw. When they put the pole in the ground that evening, the next morning they woke up, and there was a huge discussion. Chunta said the pole was standing straight up, that this was the new homeland. Chickasaw says this pole was still leaning to the east, and we will travel to the east until we find our true homeland. So they talked about it all throughout the day. Finally, at the end of the day, there was a huge argument. Chata says, everyone that believes this pole is standing straight up will stay here. We'll call this our new homeland. Chickasaw says, everyone that believes this pole is still leaning to the east, we will travel to the east till we find our new homeland. And so Chickasaw and his group left. When Chickasaw and his group left, we can think of this as the beginning of Chickasaw history, culture, and language, because we believe that was the beginning of the Chickasaw people. As we traveled to the southeast, we finally found our true homelands. We believe those homelands are where the federal government created the first treaty with the Chickasaws, and that boundary are the boundaries now known as the present-day states of southwestern Kentucky, northwest Alabama, western Tennessee, and north Mississippi.
Did you know the Chickasaw lived in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri? What is even cooler is that they lived in Memphis too. Most Chickasaws were forced to move to Oklahoma in the 1800s. The men were hunters. The Chickasaw men hunted for deer, bears, wild turkeys, and fish. The family ate beans, corn, squash, and sunflowers. Women did most of the farming and harvesting of the fruits and vegetables. They also had wild plants such as nuts, berries, plums, and herbs. The Chickasaw lived in settled villages, houses, and small farms. The houses were made from river cane walls and thatched roofs. Did you know the Chickasaw tribe became known as one of the 5 tribes, such as Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, and Seminole tribes? Did you know I am part of Chickasaw? If you want to learn more, you can visit the Chickasaw Culture Center.
Krishno agnofile itana, pomi chunkasto momochi, yama chakasha alichi itemaglana, istian mo makapisa, zachi, ola apapisa, anopa nanole, toloa muchahilsa, poemi nanokcha, zachi,